50% of Americans live within 50 miles of the coast. People want to live along the coast. We see that coastal migration continuing over time. With more people come more values. More values mean more hurricane risk. There's an increased risk of greater frequency and severity of extreme events. Experts have issued warnings that we've entered into a period of warming ocean temperatures, which is going to drive greater frequency and severity. If you look at 2009, it was a very benign year. We didn't see many hurricanes. But if you step back for a moment and you look at the last 5 years, the last 5 years are clearly going to go down in the record books for the amount of hurricane damage. There's been a shift in how coastal property insurance is being managed today, concentrating the risk with state and federal governments through wind pools, residual markets, FAIR plans, the federal flood programs. In most cases, the costs of these programs or the costs of those risks aren't borne by the consumers that live along the coast. The costs are borne by the entire citizens in those states through post-event assessments. We recognize that coastal insurance reform is not at the top of the agenda for Congress today. They have many other things they're dealing with. But we believe the P&C industry can do something now. And so today we're announcing a program to pilot writing fortified homes in 2 states this year, with a rollout to the additional coastal states probably within about 12 months. Homes built to meet stringent standards are better able to withstand severe winds, reduce property losses, and save lives. So in conjunction with this program, we're going to offer up to 35% premium credit for those fortified homes. So we're stepping up to the plate to write this business, which is what we're hearing is still a big availability issue in many states. This is not a silver bullet for solving the availability and affordability crisis that many of our communities face. There's probably less than 5,000 of these homes out there today. But we need to raise public awareness that these programs exist. We need builders willing to adapt and build these standards. We need consumers willing to buy the homes, and we need the P&C insurance industry to step up to the plate and write the homes.
At IBHS, we are huge advocates of building codes. Anything that we can do to make structures passively safe, we should do. Now, most people think that there's a building code every place, and it's enforced every place, because how could it not be? We live in one of the greatest countries on earth. How could you not have building codes that are well enforced? But we don't. So at IBHS, we spend a lot of time talking about the value of building codes, the need for uniform, universal enforcement of codes that are regionally appropriate. We found that where you have strong, well-enforced building codes, you see the severity of property losses in the wake of a storm reduced by 42%. And the frequency of losses dropped by 60%. That's not 16, that's 60. That's not even close to a rounding area. That's really significant loss reductions. Building codes work. Codes are the minimum. That's not an aspirational goal. The codes are the minimum for construction, for safe, life safety-oriented construction. So we also have our own engineering-based Code Plus or superior construction standard. You don't have to have a building code in order to do Code Plus construction. You could build a superior home or superior piece of commercial construction any place. But obviously the marginal cost and effort, if you have a good code in place, is less to go to superior construction than not. But our idea is to create an aspirational standard, something that really provides ultimate safety for people. Last year, Hurricane Ike, which was an exceptionally large, moderately intense hurricane in the Gulf of Mexico, came ashore on the Bolivar Peninsula. The eye wall really passed very, very close to 13 fortified for safer living, IBHS fortified homes. They were the only structures left standing. Structures in coastal areas are not built high enough to withstand storm surge. These structures are not built tightly enough to withstand wind-driven water. Even if you put shutters and good window coverings and good windows in these structures, we saw very fine droplets of water and evidence that the water had been in over doors, under doors, around windows. Water gets in. The coastal structures are not built strongly enough to withstand high winds.
We have experienced losses in a number of hurricanes in the last few years, and so we expanded this analysis to roll it up to all those hurricanes and all the claims that we accumulated. It's not only a question of severity, it's also a question of frequency. So not only what we see is that the damage ratio is higher in the older locations, we see more losses in older locations than we see in newer constructions. In our cases, we found that about 85% of all the losses was linked to some extent to roof damage. And it goes from very simple to very complex, and as it becomes more complex, it becomes more expensive. So number one, and it is key, you need to be able to maintain the building integrity. It's all about building integrity. So start with your environment and keep the trees healthy, keep things cleared of missiles, make sure that everything that can fly is in if an event happens clearly. Anything that is open should be upgraded to be impact resistant. Windows, garage door, roof mitigation techniques, either re-roofing or anchoring the building, anchoring the roof and attaching it to the wall of the structure.
There is a role, I think, for the insurance industry here, a very important role as the states try to set the regulatory framework for which we operate in 50 states, as you all know. We think it's very important, and that's why Travelers has really stepped up to say we want to take the lead on this issue. We think it's hugely important. We think mitigation, as far as our 4 pillars for our coastal wind zone plan, there is a role of the federal government in terms of setting some of these, higher bar standards, some tax credits, if you will. If individual states don't do it, we want the federal government to step in and provide some federal tax credits.